Hello everyone, I'm Vinay Parnami. I'm a mechanical engineer from Peck University of Technology. I passed out in the year 2012 and I had given CAT in 2011 and I got a 99.12 percentile. This time around I got 99.94 and this was my second attempt and I got a few calls. Today I am here to discuss my FMS interview. And I have had an experience of working in Tata Motors for 6 months, and now we'll discuss about my FMS interview. It was on 18th March and the venue was the North Campus of FMS itself, and it was in Delhi only. When I reached there, I had the morning 11 AM slot, but I checked the notice boards and had been divided into different slots throughout the day. So I had been given the 2 o'clock slot. On inquiring, we were told that we were supposed to get our documents verified till that time and then we'll be taken forward towards the GD as well as the interview process. So after waiting for a couple of hours and getting my documents verified, around 2:20 we were told to move into the GD room from the hall where we were sitting for verification. And the verification was a pretty smooth affair and they just checked the documents. So the 13 of us were there in the group. Our topic was dream budget and fiscal consolidation are the utopian of Indian political economy. And we were told that we can think for 1 minute, and after that the group discussion began. The group discussion was a very loud affair. And since the number of members in the group discussion were more, it was difficult to make a few entries. I did make more than a couple of entries. I think I spoke for 3 times and I gave different points each time, and I was able to direct the group towards a different aspect which they discussed afterwards, which I felt was nice. But at the same time, I do believe that if you can make around 2 or 3 entries in a group discussion like the one in FMS, that is good enough. Because a group discussion like that, you are putting together and it's very difficult to get everyone's view. And at the same time, everyone is trying to speak, so a majority of time is wasted in getting settled down. At one point, I did realize that somehow we were facing the fear of getting disqualified, but luckily it wasn't the case. Later on, I did hear that some of the groups were disqualified because they were too rowdy and they were creating a fish market. So be prepared that in FMS it is going to be a little rowdy affair. They also gave us pages to write during the initial 1 minute, which they took after the group discussion was over. And after that we moved to the waiting room where we were told that we'll be called one by one for the interviews. I had the 10th number, and by the speed of the interviews we did realize that it was a very fast affair. The interviews at max were going for 5 or in a rare case 10 minutes, but mostly everyone was giving the interviews and coming out in at least 5 to 6 minutes. That was the general duration of every interview. And when I got my slot, I requested the permission to enter the room, and then I observed that a couple of other faculty had also joined in, although they didn't ask any questions during the interview. The interview was really short one, around 4 to 5 minutes, and they asked me just 4 questions. The first question was what I had written in the SOP, which they asked us to write when we submit a form for applying, and they asked me a question about business environment. The second question was about the current economic condition and how companies should adapt to the various austerity measures and the changing economic needs. The third question was which other calls I have. And the fourth question was which call will I prefer. But before these 4 questions, I did have an extempore. That was a 1 minute speaking task where I was told to speak on the topic for 1 minute, and my topic was watch. And I believe this is a very integral part of FMS selection process, because this extempore task is just in FMS and not in any other B-school admission process. And they asked me to speak on the topic watch. I spoke about the literal meaning, about the device. At the same time, I talked about the act of watching and how we can relate it to judgment. And at the same time, how when you are watching someone, you are observing his actions and deciding what kind of person he is. At the same time, I did mention a little about F1 races, about clocking time in different athletic events, and about events like watching the ball in cricket and so on and so forth. This was before the interview, and then as I mentioned, I was asked the 4 questions, and after that I was told to leave. So you need to be calm, you need to be composed, and at the same time you need to tell what is honest. Whatever you think that you're not comfortable with answering, do not answer that. And overall you need to enjoy the experience, and at the same time it is a selection process, and you need to give it your best shot.